Hello everyone and welcome to Topic Gamers Match Preview. West Ham United against Manchester United. Both sides head into the London Stadium with slightly different results in European football during the week. Gonzo, let's kick off as always. Can I get your thoughts on our opponents, please?
Yeah, they seem to be trying to gain ground, aren't they, Gio? They've lost momentum, they've lost ground. They're significantly behind, certainly Manchester City, Liverpool, arguably Chelsea as well. So they're trying to make up for lost time. It's not been particularly fruitful for them with since Alex Ferguson departed. I think the general suggestion is that when Alex Ferguson left, even though he won the title in his final season, it wasn't the greatest ever Manchester United team that one. He actually overachieved with the players he had at his disposal. Several failed managers, our own David Moyes, of course, Louis van Gaal and Jose Mourinho, although he went there and won the tournament that we're in at the moment, which is obviously the second highest, most prestigious European tournament, not the one that Tottenham are in. That's we're sort of in the middle one. He won that. I think he won either the league or the FA Cup with them or something like that. So I don't think it was wholeheartedly a failure, but once again, he got a bit bored, he got a bit frustrated, he got a bit angry, and Jose did what Jose does. Solskjaer came in, and I'm yet to, as you know, Gio, I'm yet to be convinced. I've been saying this for a couple of years now. I'm yet to be convinced that he is the man that will lead them to former glories and trophies.
Yeah, I think since Fergie left, really, they've lost the fear factor at Old Trafford. Man United themselves have lost the fear factor. It used to be a team that struck. You used to think a point will do, regardless if it's home or away. If you could get a point, I'm currently watching on the BBC at the minute. There's a documentary called Fever Pitch, which is about the growth of the Premier League. It's only 2 episodes in. So the first episode was about the very first season, and this currently episode 2 is just finished. It's around about 1995 when Cantona done his kick and stuff. And they were talking about, Les Ferdinand said, you used to go to Man United and lose 1-0 and think that was a good result. Just keep the score down. Those days are long gone. And at times they get it back now and again. They got back with Mourinho. When Mourinho first went in, I think it was like, wow, okay, now they've got the manager. Then he lost it after a little while because Mourinho, like you said, Mourinho just combusted like he usually does at clubs. He's a very short-term fix. I think they've got it back to some extent now because of the players on the pitch and because of one player in particular, which we'll talk about in just a second. I think they've now got a side there that's on the pitch, first 11, capable of winning the Premier League. And it's probably the first time I've said that or thought that since Fergie left, really. They've now got world-class players. They're now buying world-class players. They're no longer buying Dan James, with the greatest respect to him. They're no longer buying these kind of players and hoping it works. They are buying ready-made world-class players that have won stuff with that mentality. I guess the question is, which is you just touched upon, do they have the manager in order to go on and win the title? And I've sort of been a bit of a fan of Solskjaer. If you like, I thought he's done okay. But you do think he was probably okay for getting into the top 4 and competing in the Europa League, perhaps. But now Man United's squad's a bit above that, which is we're now ready to challenge for a title. I'm not sure the manager is good enough. And I think come the end of the season in May, the difference between the 4 clubs that you've mentioned will probably come down to the manager making errors or winning games through genius, if you like. And you have to look at Stamford Bridge and you can already see the difference between Frank Lampard and an experienced world-class manager and the difference it's making at Stamford Bridge. And I do think we're going to see similar at Old Trafford this season, the difference between someone ready-made and someone. Solskjaer might one day be a world-class manager. I just think Man United is a very big club to almost do your apprenticeship at. But anyway, enough about Man U for just a second, Gonzo. One football time, the best football app you can get. We're talking about world-class players at Man U. There's a world-class app on your phone.
There is, and if you really wanted it to, not your words, you could tailor it to only give you the Manchester United news, because this fantastic app has all the Premier League, not all the Premier League, all of world football on it, including international teams. So what you do is you download the app, using the link below, because then they know you've come through Hammer's Chat, obviously. It says, who do you follow? You say West Ham. Who else do you follow? England. You click on it, and what it does, it aggregates all of the news from just the teams that interest you. You could pick more than 2, by the way. So for Geo, would probably pick, obviously, West Ham England and Scotland. So you can, anyway, download it to your phone, pings you all sorts of information all throughout the week, be it transfer, tittle, tattle, lineups just before the game, results, everything you need to know. The one-stop shop is the One Football app. They should have called it the one-stop shop.
And it's completely free. Link in the description, pin comments, get it downloaded today, and feel like Ronaldo with a world-class app on your phone. Right. The players they signed in the summer, Geo Gonzo, I think out of all the clubs that have done business, I think Man United were possibly the most impressive. Well, I guess that's the question. Are the most impressive? Rafael Varane, Jadon Sancho, and of course Cristiano Ronaldo returning to Old Trafford. Eyebrow-raising signings.
Yeah, well, Ronaldo certainly, because it came completely left of field, but they've been chasing Sancho for, well, I think for at least 18 months. I think at one point they were quoted 108 million from Dortmund for him. So I bet Dortmund are probably feeling a little bit sheepish about that one. The Varane one, we only saw the speculation this season, but it still took sort of a month to happen, really, didn't it? So I guess there were no surprise when they came in. The Ronaldo deal, though, mate, was completely left the field because it looked like he was going to City, and then he ended up Old Trafford, which obviously everybody would be delighted about.
Are you impressed by the business, though?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess so. We'll see. I'm really impressed by getting Ronaldo back. I think it's look. I'll tell you now, Gio. If I look back now, the best forget West Ham players, forget your favourite West Ham players, and forget Trevor Brooking and this, that, and the other, and Alan Devonshire and Dimitri Payet, or whoever you might think you've seen West Ham that's brilliant. Forget West Ham players. The best players I have ever been to a stadium and see play football. Thierry Henry, Steven Gerrard, Ruud Gullit, Roy Keane, Tony Adams, all for different, they'll play in different positions. Dennis Bergkamp be another one. There'll be others who people will think, but for me, who I've seen, those guys stand out. You look at on a pitch, you think, oh my God, these are magnificent footballers. Cristiano Ronaldo is the best footballer I've ever seen play football. It's as simple as that. There is no one better. Forget the Messi. I've never seen Messi play football. I've watched him on telly. It's not the same. That doesn't count in my list of players I've seen play football. Also, we're dealing with the greatest goal scorer the world has ever known. It's not even subjective. It's not even an opinion. It just is so. That's the way it is. Left foot, right foot, fast. Cristiano Ronaldo could play in anyone's team. He could play in Pep Guardiola's team, or he could play in Tony Pulis' team. It doesn't matter because he could do everything that there is to do on a football pitch. He's commanded in the air, left and right foot, fast. He's an absolute phenomenon, and he's the best player that I think I will ever see play football. I don't think I'll ever see a better player play football than him. So I think it's absolutely, there you go. That's a Cristiano Ronaldo show. What some people who are Hampshire fans would have tuned in for. I think he's an absolute phenomenon.
Yeah, I think he's obviously one of the world's best ever footballers. There's absolutely no doubt in that. But I think, forgetting his ability for a second, which you just spoke about, it's his winning mentality as well that he brings to Old Trafford. Because while they have lost the fear factor in years, I think Ronaldo himself just puts it back into Man U a little bit. If he's starting, you think, oh, bloody hell, we need a plan for this guy, actually. You may have had a plan for Fernandes or Pogba in the past at Man U, but I still think there was an element of we'll take the game to Man U and let's have a pop at them. I mean, there might be that for West Ham Sunday, but I do also think there will be some element of what we're going to do with this guy because someone's going to have to mark him. We are going to have to keep an eye on him because you give him a yard, he'll take two and he'll probably punish you for it as well. He's just an unbelievable player, but it's bringing that guy back in. And I think it's sparked a little bit of a revival among the Man United fan base and stuff. They may still be unhappy with the Glazers and that. Of course they are, and I understand why they are. But I do think it's possibly quieting down the protests a little bit, which is, we've got you this summer, just give us a few months and let's see what we can deliver kind of thing. And I think the excitement's back among the Man United fan base as well. I think Ronaldo has given the Man United fans belief that we can actually compete again. We can go back and win more trophies. And Ronaldo isn't just a player. He's an event. He is essentially an event. All you have to do is see what it's been like since he returned to the Premier League. They played against Newcastle in his return. And all of a sudden it sparked all this talk about whether we should get rid of the blackout 3 p.m. games on Saturday because Sky BT couldn't broadcast his first ever game back, and it was still, despite that blackout, it was still the most watched ever Premier League game in English football. And he is a brand, he is an event. And I think Man U are all the better for it. But Sancho has been a bit disappointing recently. He was crap again during the week against Young Boys. Got hooked, obviously, because of the red card. He will come good, though. There's a talented player there, but they are going to be a bit patient with him. But I think Varane's just as important as Ronaldo, actually. It's all very well buying a striker. Someone's going to score goals, but you're conceding them at the back. Sort of rules them out a little bit, but they've now got a partner for Harry Maguire, because I do think Maguire is... I think he's world class as well. I do think Harry Maguire is a world class centre back. Before we talk about individual players, Man U again, can they win the title? Because that's the big question this season, isn't it?
No, they can't. Unfortunately for them, they can't win the title. We've just spoken about lots and lots of good players, excellent players, and we'll talk about more good players. And as I say, they have the greatest goal scorer. You notice I'm not saying the greatest player, but have the greatest goal scorer there's ever been in the history of football. That really counts for something. It really does. But it's not just about the players on the pitch. It is actually about your coaching staff and the managers, and particularly at the top level, have a huge impact in these events. And they just don't have a top manager. So I just can't see it. I can't see it happening. I think they will continue. The word elite is there for a reason. It doesn't matter whether it's in boxing, football, Formula One, whatever. When it gets to the very top, when it gets to the final, when it gets to that showdown, when it gets to that match that finally matters, when it, whatever the case may be and whatever the sport, the elite just have a way of doing it, and they have a plan, and they have a way through, and those top clubs just do. And I think in many respects, as good as this business has been for Man United, the timing of, you mentioned Frank Lampard with Tuchel replacing him, is terrible for Man United, because actually you do have a guy there who is an elite manager. You can see that he oozes it in everything he does, which is why you mentioned him previously. Certainly Klopp is, certainly Guardiola. I mean, Solskjaer will take them up there, and Solskjaer will take them to be a guaranteed top 4 team. And that sounds silly, and it ain't good enough for Man United, by the way. They're a massive club. But for now, that is better than they have been for the past few seasons. I know they have qualified for top 4. I know this, but they haven't been a guaranteed top 4 team. And unfortunately for Man United, they're still going through the season. Really not quite sure whether they're going to be better than Leicester or not. And that's not good enough for them.
Yeah, all you've got to do is look at the Europa League final at the end of last season. There, Man United getting beat by the Villarreal, and you did feel the difference was tactics. You felt that Emery got it bang on for Villarreal, while Solskjaer came unstuck a little bit, and it just smacked of not unprepared by Solskjaer, just not good enough. He just wasn't good enough in that night. On that night, Man United weren't good enough, and they also lost the Europa League final. I agree. I don't think they'll win the title this year. And while Ronaldo is a huge impressive signing, I think what it has done, actually, I think it's done Chelsea a favour, because it's taken the pressure off Lukaku. I think Lukaku is possibly the best striker in the world. And I think he's a better striker, number 9, than what Cristiano Ronaldo is. And Lukaku come in, and it made all the headlines. It's like, well, Chelsea are going to have to win the league now. You can't spend that much money on a striker, blah, blah, blah. Ronaldo's come in, and that Lukaku stuff has gone from the back page to 3 pages in a little bit, and it's just taking the pressure off Lukaku. You know, £100 million striker, and there's no pressure on his shoulders now. It's all on Ronaldo, and I think for that reason, I struggle to see beyond Chelsea winning the title, actually, and I think Man United will be fighting out with Liverpool and Man City to come best of the rest, second, if you like. I'm not even sure they're going to do that. I think they might find themselves closer to 5th than they are to first.
And we'll get hate. We'll get hate for that in these comments, Gio, by the way, because with these big games bring lots of new viewers to the channel. Always happens when we play these big teams, and what we've said, the nice stuff about them and their players, of course, will be forgotten, and people will just be shouting, well, Man United win the title, West Ham are crap. That's the type of stuff we'll get. But it is truth, and it is honest. We don't feel that because of the manager that they're there quite yet.
Yeah. Anyway, Persian Meyer, take a couple. Not Ronaldo. I'm fed up with that.
Well, Fernandes. Let's talk about Fernandes, who again.
Please. I can't stand him.
Well, you speak about Lukaku, and Ronaldo taking the pressure off Lukaku. I thought that was quite impressive, actually. The way that Fernandes, scored a screamer, didn't he? Of course, but I think that has again taken the pressure off of him. I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the Pogba thing plays out, because it's the worst kept secret in football that Pogba's running his contract down, and Pogba's got an agent who can't keep his trap shut as well. So that's really, really interesting in that. I think if we're going to talk about other players aside from the really famous ones, and I know he was a bit of a naughty boy in the week or whatever was unfortunate, I really like Wan-Bissaka. I think it's easy to talk about money and being well spent when you're talking about such vast amounts of money. But I do actually think, but considering his age, considering the position he plays, and considering what he does, I do think that was money well spent for Man U to go and get him. And they've sorted out that, a vital part of their squad for years and years to come. I know he's not around at the moment, Rashford, but this is a really big season for Rashford as well, by the way, because I feel he was really poor last season. I wonder if he was just concentrating so much in being an ambassador for the club that it made his football suffer. So I do wonder if this season he's gonna, not to diminish the excellent work he did with children's meals and stuff like that, but a lot of that work was done, Gio, when there was no football. You understand? So, absolutely. David Moyes did it himself when there was no football on at all. Get your teeth into some charity work. Absolutely do what you can. But I wonder if that became so great and almost became a monster, him being an ambassador for everything and going and speaking at common select committees and all this sort of stuff. I think out of anyone, I think Rashford now needs to knuckle down and become one of the best players at Manchester United. And then he was looking like, at one point, he was one of the best young players in Europe. And I've seen it so many times before with players. They're 18, 19, they're really impressive. And all of a sudden, you look around, they're 25, and you're saying, oh, he used to be the future. Nothing's really happened there. So I think it's a really important season for him.
The reason I dismiss Bruno Fernandes, he's got all the talent in the world, of course. I can't stand him. He's my number one. At the minute, he's my number one player. He just winds me up watching it. Zaha used to be number one. He's demoted to number 2 now. Richarlison's probably number 3. But Bruno Fernandes is number 1. Oh, he's just the most whingiest little bugger this season. He's been booked twice this season, both for dissent. I just can't stand him. But the polar opposite can be said for Luke Shaw. I think Luke Shaw is possibly the best left back in the league. He's been in an unbelievable form for quite a while now. Last season for Man United, into the Euros with England, and he's continuing that good form so far this season. But he is also one of the most likable people I find in football. He gets asked about Mourinho all the time because Mourinho hated him, and he sort of alludes to the fact that he didn't enjoy his football and didn't know why. But he dismisses it as well. He almost refuses to engage in, a war of words, despite journalists probing him all the time for it. Luke Shaw could get man of the match. But well done, Luke. You played, got the 3 points. Yeah, you wouldn't have done that under Mourinho, though. I'll just leave him alone. Stop trying to get out of him, kind of thing. I think Luke Shaw is a superb player, and also Harry Maguire next to him. Hark at me, plays in 2 English players. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'll have to get the England one for that. You should. But I think Harry Maguire it's fashionable to slag off Harry Maguire. I think it's almost cool to not like Harry Maguire. I think he's a world-class centre-back. I think he's unbelievable, actually. He is a bit slow. If he had that yard of pace, he'd have everything that you need. His reading of the game, his leadership, his heading, his tackling, everything about it is just brilliant with Harry Maguire. But anyway, enough about the Man United loving. I feel a bit dirty, but I don't have time for a shower, so we're going to crack on and talk about the West Ham team. But before we do, Sunday's a home game, which means our boats are open. If you would like to join us on the boats for a beer and a barbecue before the game, you can do. Link is in the description below. Also, it's a bit different on Sunday, Gonzo. We've got a bit of an event going on.
We do. I mean, we're absolutely honoured to have Bill Gardner down at the boats, who is going to be, and Bill will be working exclusively at Hammers Chat with regards to doing signed copies of his latest book. Now, Bill will be featuring Hammers Chat in a little while, be interviewing him about the book and whatnot. But if you get yourself down to the boats, they're right next to the aquatic centre, aren't they, Geo? Opposite the big screen on the canal. Get down there, get yourself a book, and Bill will personalise it and sign that book for you. It is an excellent book, by the way. I've read it, and there's great intros of different people like Cass Pennant and Carlton Leach. It's been ghostwritten by Mozza, who is a regular down the boats himself, by the way. So you'll all recognise him if you go down there as well. So that's really going to be something special. So get yourselves down there.
Open before and after the game. If you wish to join us on the boats, the link is in the description below and the pinned comments of this video as well. Right, West Ham time. Good win on last night, Thursday night in the Europa League, but formation. Would you like to keep 4 at the back? Masuaku's back fit. Squad rotation may be necessary, but this is about what myself and Gonzo want to see rather than what we think Moyes will do. Would you like to stick with 4 at the back, Gonzo, or would you like to switch to 3 at the back?
I will stick with 4 at the back, but that doesn't mean that formation is going to stay the same. It's funny, I've not even written it down yet, Gio, but I've got it in my head. I know what I want to do here. But yeah, it's definitely going to be 4 at the back, although, which I know this will be your question, I am changing the goalkeeper.
Fantastic. I'm going to keep Fabianski the same, I think, for this one. I'll also keep 4 at the back. For a reason that we've just spoken about in regards to Man United losing the fear factor, and while I think some of it's back, I don't think we've got anything to fear going into this game. You know, we've got 8 points on the board after 4 games. We're not in desperate need of points. We don't need to play for a point or anything like that. This isn't end of the season trying to avoid relegation stuff. We can go out there on Sunday with our chests puffed out, tails wagging, and try and take the game to Man United and try and win this game. And I think playing 4 at the back gives us the best chance to do that. And over time, over the years, West Ham have often had to sort of adapt to your opposition, and we will again in the future. But for this one, given that we've seen Man United struggle away to Southampton, who played 4 at the back, given that we've seen young boys beat them during the week, I think there's enough evidence actually to suggest that we are capable of winning this game playing our way. And our way is 4 at the back. So I'd like to see us keep that. I would keep Fabianski in goal. How would your back 4 line up, though, in terms of personnel? Because I think there's one man in particular called Kurt Zouma, who has, at the very least, a very good stake to claim here after his performance last night.
And he looks like he's eaten a very good steak. The man's an absolute giant, for goodness sake. So Zouma would be in there. Soufal, of course, Ogbonna playing at the left centre back, and Aaron Cresswell. You can't really leave any of those players out. I think, bearing in mind you're talking about somebody of Zouma who's only made 1 appearance. You can't leave anyone of those out.
Yeah, I completely agree. Your back 4 there. Zouma's an absolute must for me coming into that tee. I thought it was a commanding performance last night. And it's not just, there's a few of them played well last night, but the problem is the shirts you're playing for ain't necessarily up for grabs. I feel Craig Dawson's was up for grabs. I don't think he's had a good start to the season. Zouma and Diop had an opportunity last night to snatch it. I thought Zouma you spoke about elite earlier. You said the word elite. For West Ham, I think Kurt Zouma is a elite player, and he looked it last night. He goes straight in as far as I'm concerned. Now, you've got a formation tweak. Obviously, we'll jump forward, actually. No Michail Antonio. Is that part of the reason for your tweaking of said system?
It is indeed, mate. Yeah, absolutely. We don't have a recognised centre forwards. I think that's okay, because it's not like it's going to be a surprise. I think Moyes probably planned this formation for months, actually, and the personnel that will fit into this formation. We're going to have to slightly guess what it is. And I think the composition of it, because it is, as you alluded to, the formation and the personnel is forced because of Antonio. However, I do think the composition of the starting 11 changes depending on who you're playing. So we're about to play a very, very good team now. So I do think the people that are included in it are going to be slightly different. I don't think Moyes will go with my team, but this is the team that I would pick.
And how do you line up in midfield then?
Well, I've actually got 3 central midfielders in this one. So there's almost no number. Well, it's not almost no number 10. There is no number 10. And if there is, it's Thomas Souček. And because I'm actually going to play Rice and Krau to sit there as the guys that play like Rice and Souček. The player that would maybe play in the Fornals role or the Ben Rama role, whatever you want to call it in this one, is going to be Thomas Souček for me. And the reason I do that is when we don't have the ball, it just makes it a really solid 3 in the middle. And I don't care what they do. All these guys are big guys. Even Rice himself. Rice is whatever 6'1", something like that. The other 2 are 6'3", 6'4". Paul Pogba's a big boy in there, but almost you put those in there, they've got everything. Those players, and you're saying to Man U, well, you want to contest the midfield, you're going to have to try and get through us lot, and that ain't going to be easy. But also, it gives us the option, Gio, of when we do counter attack, we've got that massive aerial threat there. I don't care how good Maguire is. I don't care how good Rafael Varane are. Souček would cause them problems if we get good service crossed over into the box. So that's why I'll be putting him there.
I would stick with Rice and Souček in the middle for this one with Vlasic in the number 10 role. And the reason for that is because I think that's Man United's massive Achilles heel, the centre of the pitch. It's not good enough. And there's a chance it'll be Van de Beek and Fred. McTominay's back in training. He might come back into the team alongside Fred for this one. But how fit's he going to be? You might use Matic. Whatever. It doesn't matter in the combination of those 4 players. It is not good enough. And we will have a better centre midfield. I'm not talking the number 10. I'm talking your number 4 and number 8 or number 6 in there. We will have a better centre midfield than what Man United do on Sunday. So I would like to see us try and capitalise on that a little bit. I will give Vlasic an opportunity here because I think the pressure's on Man U for this one. There's no pressure on us going into this. I think they'll be heavily favourites. It'll be the Cristiano Ronaldo show on Sky or BT or whatever channel it's on. It'll be all about Ronaldo prior. All the focus is on them. And I think that gives us an opportunity. And Vlasic wasn't great last night against Zagreb. But I thought off the ball, he'd done what Moyes would have wanted him to do. For that reason, bear in mind, we probably won't have the majority of the possession for this one. If he's going to work hard out of it, I'm okay with that. But I also think that he possesses possibly our biggest chance of creating something from nothing. Because it may be one of those games, but also we're going to need somebody that can stick the ball in net. Missing Antonio, we've got to make up from the goals somewhere. Fanal's is scoring. Ben Rama's scored this season. Bowen's yet to get off the score sheet, but I'm sure the goals are coming. Vlasic has goals in him. And for that reason, I'd like to see him start in the team. But saying that, you might also start him with you. You've got 3 ahead of that midfield 3. Jared Bowen, Pablo Fornals, and I imagine it's a toss-up between Vlasic and Ben Rama. Am I wrong?
You are wrong. You are wrong, my friend. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, why not? Why not? It's good fun having a guess. Yeah, no, I've got Lanzini, Bowen, and Ben Rama.
Where's Pabs?
Pardon?
Where's Pablo?
He's knackered, mate. He's lying down on the sofa. He's cream crackered. He's still out in Zagreb partying.
No, you can't. Fornals has got to be one of the first names on the team sheet. He doesn't get tired, Fornals. I've never seen him tired.
Right. Yeah. Look, you know, mate. I'd be my potential hammer of the year. You know this. You alluded to it in the review. The Lanzini substitution, which was forced, stopped what Moyes probably wanted to do, which was to rest Fornals. And he can't stop running. He can't stop running around. But for me, if you look at my team again, which you've got in the middle, you've got Rice, Kraut, and Souček in the middle. Actually, I don't really need another guy that's going to put in a massive shift there. Actually, I want people that are going to break quickly and be able to play really, really quite fast. I need a little bit more mobility in my front 3 there. So yeah, I've gone for Lanzini, Bowen, and Ben Rama because you're almost saying to those 3. Go and create something, you know?
Yeah, my other 3, I'm sticking with Pablo Fornals on one side, Ben Rama on the other, and Jared Bowen through the middle. And this is the risk, isn't it? How are we going to score against Man U? That's the big question, because no Antonio, we've got to play differently. Even if there's a different striker up there, whether it's Bowen, whether it's Yarmolenko, it doesn't matter. We cannot play the same way that we do with Mikel Antonio. There's not going to be any holding off Harry Maguire. Jared Bowen is not going to back into Maguire and shrug him off the ball. It's just not happening. So we're going to have to play slightly different when we hit the final third. The one thing, it's quite funny actually, the one thing that you've got an advantage compared to myself is if we were to play a team that I've just named, there's no point crossing the ball. Ben Rama, Fornals, Bowen and Vlasic in the box. They're not winning a header against Maguire. Never mind whether it's McTominay, Matic in there as well. We didn't possess any aerial threat in open play whatsoever. So we've got to find a way of coming up against them. But I remember playing Man United last season where we were all over them for the first 45 minutes. We absolutely tore them apart. That was with Sebastian Haller up front, who rounded the goalkeeper and fell over. But we destroyed them. We should have been 2-3, 4-0 up at halftime. That game should have been done and buried at halftime. Fortunately, it wasn't. Bruno Fernandes came on and broke a record for how many chances created in a game. He only played 45 minutes. But we need to carry a threat without our most threatening player on the pitch. And it's not going to be easy, really. I think I'm a bit worried about the loss of Antonio Gonzo.
I am, but I do think you'd never choose to do it. You'd never choose what we're going to do. However, I do think it throws up quite an interesting sort of sideshow to the game, and that is we've spoken about these wonderful defenders. I don't know if Wan-Bissaka plays, but we've spoken about Luke Shaw and we spoke about Varane and Maguire. They may well find themselves with nobody to mark. And that's going to make it very, very interesting indeed, because they may well be looking and thinking, well, this is just unfamiliar. I'm not suggesting for a moment that Maguire can't mark Bowen or that Varane can't mark Benrahma, but they might be so totally confused by it. They might be saying, well, hold on, does Wan-Bissaka pick him up? Well, he's sitting so deep. What's he doing? Do we stay here or do we go out to meet them? I understand that both those players, Maguire, in fact, all the back four are more than comfortable of travelling forward and squeezing up and actually then operating in midfield. And passing the ball around, retaining the ball. But actually, when we win the ball, it does give them a problem. So I don't think that they're going to have that orthodox. If you imagine the team sheet is out, and you've got the tactics board in the changing room where people are moving the bits around. You mark him, you mark him. I don't think it's going to be particularly clear what to do. I think they will be very, very confused by it. As I say, you wouldn't choose to do it, but the byproduct could be that actually we do cause a bit of confusion for Man United. I don't know what we're going to do. You don't know what we're going to do. The teams are totally different. And whoever's doing the opposition preview on the Manchester United Patreon channel, on Man Utd chat, or whatever they're called, Red Devils chat, whoever's doing your job of the opposition preview is probably thinking, I don't know what to do. I don't know what West Ham are going to do at all. So are they going to? Solskjaer's not going to know what they're going to do. Neither is Harry Maguire. I think this could be. I'm really interested from a tactical point of view. I'm interested to see how this plays out.
Have you got any concern at all about the Europa League effect? There's always been this myth / evidence going by other teams that the Europa League will have a negative knock-on effect on West Ham in the Premier League. This is our first game after Thursday night, and it was a trip away to Croatia. It wasn't a home game or anything. And does that worry you at all? Or are you quite confident that we're going to cope with this?
No, I saw us last season when the fixture congestion came in. I thought we did really well. I don't think it applies to us, this one. I don't think we have, as I've mentioned now numerous videos. I don't think we are doing a Burnley, if you want to call it that. I think that Man United are more than capable of beating West Ham. Man United will probably beat West Ham. If Man United and West Ham play 10 times, Manchester United are probably going to win 7 or 8 of those games. That's just the way it is. I don't think whether we play in Europe or anything. And if we lose to Man United and people start saying, oh, well, we lost to Man United because of Europe, well, we might well have lost to them anyway. So let's just put that out there. Also, that they've played in Europe as well. Granted, they've got a bigger squad than us. But no, I'm not worried about it at all. I thought we managed our way through that game, Joe. I thought we managed it, like you said in the review about who looked like the experienced European team. Well, actually, one of the facets of managing your way through a game is actually you know when to take a breather, you know when to rest, you know when to control the tempo. I thought we did all of those things. We weren't running around in that game, putting 100% in at all. There were times in that game when we were cruising. So actually, I'm not worried about it at all. I didn't see the Man United game, but I would hope, just from a professional footballer's point of view, the fact that they were leaving meant they were running around like just doing everything they could to win that game. We were on cruise control for parts of that game. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think it's almost like the difference between actually Man United and say West Ham or actually Chelsea at prime example. Chelsea also went down to 10 men just before halftime against Liverpool, and they saw the game out perfectly well with 10 men. Chelsea, Man United went down to 10 men against Young Boys, and it was like headless chicken stuff. They were struggling to cope against. In the end, they didn't cope. They conceded 2 goals with 10 men. And I think West Ham, whilst with 11 men, we did what Chelsea did in the second half at Anfield, which was just manage the game. We don't have to run around with headless chickens. We can stay disciplined, stay in our positions out of possession and make it difficult for them. Then we'll get the ball back through interceptions or reading the game. And then we manage the game. And I thought we'd done it well. I'm not concerned about Sunday either. And I'm a bit like yourself, which is if we lose, I'm not going to blame the Europa League thing. It may have an impact, but I think this is possibly the wrong fixture to use as a barometer, because if both sides turn up and play 10 out of 10, Man United win. They have better players than us. As simple as that, really. It's not that simple. It comes down to attitude and that. And that's where I think that we almost have a bit of a leveler in almost any team, really. I think our attitude, our organisation, our work ethic is that good that it makes up for any loss in ability we may have against our opposition. And while Man United have better players, I would argue we have a better team. We have that bond. And I think to play like we do, sometimes you don't necessarily need energy. You need it to some extent, of course, but you don't need to rely on it. And I'm not too bothered either, but we may change our minds on Sunday afternoon. Are you confident?
Yeah, I am for this one, has to be said. Yeah, I think this has given David Moyes... I think what David Moyes has done is wonderful. I think he is... One of the biggest successes of David Moyes' time at Manchester United at West Ham is he has managed to throw off the suggestion that he's a defensive manager. I think we play some pretty tasty football quite a lot now. We score lots of goals, quite a lot. That being said, I still think some of the old Moisey is in there somewhere. And I do think it comes to the fore against the bigger teams. And I know, because I know his record is not great. And I do wonder, I think it's sometimes he caught between a rock and a hard place of playing this way, that clearly he's happy to play against everyone else that's not a top 6 team when he comes to play his big teams. So I think what's the Antonio thing's done, and he would prefer to have Antonio. Let's get that right. I'm not suggesting anything else. But what it allows it to do is play one more defensive player, which I think might have been his inclination to do so anyway. And I think that put into our organisation, put into the fact that we've strengthened the defence. We've got our tails up at the moment. We started with unbeaten this season. That place is going to be a confident place, not just because this season, because the last season. West Ham training ground will be a bloody good place to be at the moment. So, I am. And I think it possibly ain't great at Manchester United at the moment. They've had the lift from Ronaldo coming in, and now they've had their pants pulled down in a week by a crappy team. So I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens there.
I thought you were going to say they had their pants pulled down by young boys. I thought, no, not another Sigurdsson joke.
Absolutely.
I thought, no, here comes a Sigurdsson joke.
I missed one now. Should have done, really.
I'm not confident, but you know something? I'm not worried either. I'm looking forward to the game, but there's no pressure on us. Often when we're in a relegation battle, which is often in the last few years, when we play Man U, I'll say to you that this is bonus points game, and this game is bonus points game. And I don't think it is anymore, because these are games that we need to get something from in order to do what we did last season, which is finish in the top 6. We're now turning into a top 6 team. So you have to be able to take the points off the European Super League 6. You have to take points off them in order to do that. But I still don't think there's any pressure on us going into this one. I don't think there is. I don't fear Man United. If we get beat, it'll be by a goal, 2 at the most. I don't think there's no more bum spanking of West Ham going on. There's no more embarrassing results. They're gone. They're a thing of the past now. So going to these games knowing that we're going to make a damn good go of it, and if we lose, it's because they were the better team on the day. That's all it is to it. And it feels good going into games this relaxed, actually. There's no pressure on it. I don't feel pressure that we have to get something from the game. And our season won't be defined by Sunday. I know that said that we need points and stuff. Our season will not be defined by Sunday. Man United's might be. They cannot afford to lose many points. They can maybe lose 3 games over the course of the season or something, any more than that, and they're probably in trouble. We don't have that pressure on our shoulders, so I think we can go out and enjoy it. You're right. The morale, the confidence at West Ham in a minute, all-time high. And, Solskjaer won't be looking forward to Sunday. Man United won't be looking forward to Sunday either. They'll be thinking, bloody hell, this is a game we could do without, actually, after a disappointing result midweek, could do with not going to West Ham. My biggest concern is what you touched on, and that is the David Moyes white flag against these Super League 6. But it's a new season. We have tweaked our play a bit from last season to this season. We have changed slightly, and I'm just hoping that Sunday we will see another change, which is actually we're not afraid of you anymore. We can have a go at you. And I just want to see that from West Ham. But there is an element of me that says a bit worried that we will surrender a little bit and play a bit defensive, and that plays into Man United's hands because they do have the players to cut us open when we do that. But something? Moyes at West Ham keeps surprising me. They surprised me again last night. Even though you know how good everything's going, there's still elements of surprise here. And I'm ready for another one on Sunday, actually. Can I get your score prediction?
Yeah, another little just interesting sideshow to it as well, of course, is going to be Declan Rice is rumoured to be coveted by Man United. And if that is the case, and Declan knows about it, and quite frankly, he'd have to have his head in the sand not to know about it, wouldn't he? Then I think there'll be a certain amount he might be feeling, well, why did you go and get Sancho? Why did you go and get Varane? Should have come and got me. I should have been your priority. So Man United have to be mindful of a very, very good performance from Declan Rice. Not just because of Man United, we just gave him man of the match last night, but it's going to be really interesting there. I don't, you can laugh, and I might be wrong. I usually am, but I'm going to go for West Ham United 2, Manchester United 0.
Ooh, love that. I'm going to say West Ham 1, Man United 1. I'm going to go for a draw on Sunday afternoon. If you enjoyed this preview, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Make sure you check out the One Football app, link in description and the pinned comments. Myself and Gonzo, catch you in a bit.